What's up guys, welcome back to another FTB video. Today we have another review special segment, the college student edition. Today we're going to review one of my good friends from work, his beautiful car that he recently got about 2 years ago. Not recently, but you know what I mean. But yeah, today we're going to review his 2016 Scion Frs. So, since we're reviewing a 2016 Scion Frs, his car currently has about 36,000 miles to the engine, so when he took it off the lot, it was pretty much brand new. Specs-wise, the car is a 200 horsepower car, so it isn't that fast coming straight from factory, but if you tune it or supercharge it, whether you have the money and are desiring to do that, it is worth it. They can push a lot more horsepower that way. They have run about 2,400 to 2,800 pounds. The car so it is pretty light significantly, given the average car weighs about 3,000 to 3,500. And then also it comes with the 2.0 liter boxer engine. So it's a 4-cylinder, so you know it's going to be pretty good on gas. And given that it is a Scion, which is a branch from the Toyota factory, parts are going to be pretty cheap, and the car is going to be super reliable. So now let's go ahead, and since we reviewed all the common specs, let's go into a review of the car. Alright, so now that we're moving to the exterior portion of this beautiful 2016 Scion Frs, as you can obviously see, it comes in this pearl white color, which brings in pink, purple, and green speckles to paint. I think it's a really nice touch from Toyota and stuff, because it really gives it a nice flake kind of look when the sun hits it at the perfect angle. Besides that, as we move to the forward of the bumper, there isn't much anything like modified to it. It's pretty bone stock OEM. So the headlights are projector headlights, as you can see from right here from the close-up footage. The only other thing he has is the license plate relocator, which is over here rather than it being straightforward in the middle. They do come with fog lights on each corner of the rear bumper, or the front bumper, and that's also where the hazards are as well. And then you have the lower grille, which is right here, and then right below the fogs are also the lower grille. Alright, so now we're moving towards the side of the car. As you can see, same thing, OEM. You have the yellow side markers right here for your turn signals, and then you have these cars come stock with 17-inch wheels. It's a squared setup all around. If you're wondering what the tire size is though, it is 215/45 17s. The rims are 17-inch. They come in a two-tone colorway, with black being like the main focus of it, but then you also have the contrast of the silver, which you can see from like all around it, and then the surface of the spokes. 5 lug, nothing really too special. You just have the Scion logo right in the center, at the center cap. Besides that, you pretty much have it stock. As we move towards the 86 badge right here, we have just a silver classic 86 logo with another side piece that's like separate on its own. These do come in carbon fiber sometimes, like as an aftermarket kind of thing. And then besides this, you just have like a little, like, it's not an air vent, it's just like a little design piece that goes right there, which kind of looks like an air vent, but it's not. But yeah, now we can go ahead and move more towards the center of the car. So now that we move towards more of the center side of the car, he does have some aftermarket side skirts to begin with. These are pretty cool. I did tell him to mod the car a little more though. It would look a little more aggressive with it, like with the side skirt splitters at the rear bottom. But overall, it is a nice touch to the car. Besides that, you have the black striping that goes from the front fender to the side of the door to the almost rear quarter panel at the very end. Besides that, everything else is pretty much stock. He does not have any tint on it right now, so it's pretty transparent, so you know everything is very visible right there. Windows are down in the front, and then you have your side mirrors that are electric power too, just like any typical like modern car that should come with that. If it doesn't come with that, you should probably not buy that. JK. But yeah, pretty much aftermarket side skirts is the only thing we got. It came with the car once you got it off the lot from the dealership, but I think it does add on to this car nonetheless. So now we can go ahead and move more towards the rear end of the car. Alright, so now we move to the glorious and infamous rear portion of this car, which is like, whenever you see this rear end, you either think it's a FRS 86 or a BRZ, which if you don't know, they're all pretty much the same thing. Just the FRS is Scion's version of it, the 86 is the Toyota's version of it, and then the BRZ is the Subaru's version of it. If you saw like in the earlier clips of the B-roll shots of the engine, like if you look closely, this says Toyota, Subaru, and Scion on the actual engine cover. But for the rear end, we just have a nice design, which is like a little concave kind of design to the rear of the roof. You have the roof fin on the top, and then you have a pretty big rear windshield, I would say, for a coupe. Normally these are kind of like really small, but you are actually able to pretty much see through the rear end. Probably if you do tint it though, it'd probably be pretty hard, but that's what makes it look cool. And then yeah, so we just have the taillights, which are pretty much the stock OEM ones, and then we have the rear diffuser, which kind of has like a carbon fiber pattern to it. Not really, but it kind of is there. And then you have the rear brake light right there. The exhaust is stock. There's nothing modified there. You have the Scion FRS badges on silver color on the top and then on the bottom. And then we just have this license plate. For the rear end, it is a classic look for it from 2013 to 2020, which is now. They haven't really changed this rear end as much, except like the spoiler and then the taillights, which they added them as like sequential instead of just regular like blinking lights. And then the spoiler is like a flat, like a pretty low wing. It's not that like aggressive to it. But besides that, they haven't really changed the car since then, just like engine wise. But now we can go ahead and move into the interior portion of the car. So for the door, before we go into the interior portion of the car, we're going to start off with the door. This is pretty nice actually. It's like one of the most luxurious doors I've seen, which is ironic enough from coming from a Scion. But it has like leather on the top portion of the door panel with red contrast stitching. And then you have like this kind of like pretty nice plastic, but it doesn't feel much like plastic. It feels more like higher quality to it. Besides that, you have your silver contrast colors from the door handle and then the actual door leverage. You have black plastic as well right here, but it's like has like a perforated kind of pattern to it. You have your leather on your armrest right here, same thing with red contrast stitching. And then the bottom portion of it is the same kind of plastic, but not like this. The top version is a little bit lesser of quality, I would say. Because the top one has like a nice gloss. It's probably just a finish that he probably put on just to make the car look nice before this video. But yeah, and then you just have like a red door light at the very end. Your typical power window buttons, your unlock, your lock your windows, your left, right, to move your side mirror. And then you have your audio system right here, which is actually pretty cool that it's like surrounded in leather. I haven't seen a car to do that yet. It's the first. The only other cars that probably do that is Lamborghini. So it's pretty cool actually. I've never seen it before. And then you just have like a little silver contrast to the audio speaker system. We can go ahead and move more into the car now. So now that we're more towards the interior portion of this car, as you can see like the nice steering wheel that's wrapped in leather with the red contrast stitching that matches the door panel over there. You have a nice stitching that goes around the steering wheel as well with the Scion logo badge right here. We have the silver contrast as well to match the logo on the steering wheel that goes on the bottom portion of it. It is a pretty nice steering wheel to drive though, because it has nice comfort to it. So like in long trips, the steering wheel is something nice to grab onto. This car is an automatic, as you can see. So you have, your typical parking, reverse, neutral drive, but then when you put it in sport mode, You do have the optional paddle shifters that if you want to go ahead and get down and aggressive with the car, you can go ahead and use it. Besides that, you just have your typical windshield wiper switches, and then your headlight switches over here. As we go into the center of this car, you have your touchscreen radio, which is by Scion, Pioneer, a collaboration between the two. And then you just have your pretty much your climate control buttons down here. Nothing really special. Your automatic right here, and then you just have your e-brake, which is topped off with leather, and the back portion of it with plastic. Well, not plastic, but it's like a softer, harder kind of leather in the top portion. And then you have your silver button up there. Before we move to the cluster, if you guys can see, we have silver paddle shifters on the bottom, which is your footrest over there in the top left, your brake, which is in the middle, and then your gas, which is on the far right. It's with the perforated kind of design between the silver and the black, which gives it a nice kind of sporty look to it. The carpet of the car is pretty much just all black. You have your FRS logo over there, and then your interior is all black as well. Seats kind of feel like a nice like suede kind of fabric to it. Same thing, red stitching that goes around it. And then we can go ahead and turn on the car just to give you guys a look at the cluster of itself. The needles do glow red. And then you have your miles per hour, which is in a little tiny screen to your far right. And then you have your pretty much optional different displays that you have at the bottom, which is your degrees, your miles per gallon, and then like the distance, like the miles and all that stuff. On your left side, you have the miles per hour, which if you want to look at the actual number, if you don't desire to look at the digital gauge. Your sensor is your RPMs, pretty much going from 1,000 to 9,000. And then on your far right, you have your gas, and then you also have your temperature of your car. Alright, so you guys saw pretty much the overall review of the 2016 Scion FRS. If you are in the market for this car, I would suggest anything from 2015 and above, just because 2013 and 2014 had like engine problems and recalls to it. 2015 and above, they pretty much fixed those problems to it, so they don't really have that much issues. This car is OEM, has pretty much a good platform to show you guys what the car comes as factory. The front of the car, nothing too much, but it does have a nice sporty, aggressive kind of look to it. The side of the car, you do same thing, nothing too much, but you have the nice 86 badge on the side, as well as the aftermarket side skirts that he has going on currently. The rear portion of the car, the classic FRS, BRZ, or a Toyota 86 look with the taillights and the rear diffuser with the third braking light in it. The interior portion of this car, it's kind of small. If you're a little bit tall, like maybe I would say anything from 5'9" and above, you had to kind of consider whether you fit in the car. If you don't mind it, then I would probably still suggest the car. But if you do feel like your head's kind of hitting the roof and it bothers you in the long term of owning the car, I probably wouldn't suggest it. The indoor cabin space is pretty small. There is a rear seat to it, but it's pretty much non-existent because taking into account the two front seats and the space, rear passengers can't really fit back there. Probably fit just one. And then after that, the interactive buttons that you have for the driver with the steering wheel, the touch screen, the shift knob, the gauges, and then the door panels. It is pretty nice, and it gives a nice luxurious kind of feel to the car. My overall rating for the exterior portion of this car, I would give it a 9 out of 10. There is a lot of aftermarket support for this car, if you know. The only downside with the aftermarket support is that it's pretty much, you won't be an original thing, because I'll guarantee that almost any single thing that you do to the Scion FRS, somebody's already done it. But if that doesn't bother you, then I would probably suggest it. But there is tons of aftermarket parts out there. Front lips, wide body kits, front headlights, the grills, the license plate, the rear carbon fiber trunks, the hoods, the quarter panel, side skirts, like the list just goes on and on and on and on. But like I said, you won't be an original thing, which is not bad. It's just that if you want to be unique, you probably wouldn't suggest this car. Exterior, 9 out of 10. Now moving in towards the interior portion of this car, I would say about 7 out of 10. Only reason being is because the cabin is pretty small. If you're a person that carries a lot of people, let's say like 3 people on average or anything like that, you probably wouldn't want it because this car is basically just like a 2-seater. The rear seats are very, very compact and small, that there isn't much space to do anything back there. So if you're with the girl and you try to do something, you know it's not gonna happen, bro, because you gotta stay in the front seats, or you might as well just go out of the car in the trunk. So, you know, it's a family-friendly channel, I can't be saying that. But let's get back into it. So, steering wheel is really nice and it has a nice luxurious kind of feeling to it. The door panel, same thing, like I said, pretty unique, pretty nice, has nice feeling to it. The touchscreen radio, nice touch. The digital clusters that you have with the digital speedometer, nice touch as well. I like the interior blacked out everything with the red contrast. It has a very nice look to it. Plus the racing seats with the red and black. It's a very nice interior. It's just pretty small. And then as far as engine wise, I will give that about an 8 out of 10. Given that the car isn't as fast as it looks like, because how aggressive it comes on the lot, you would expect that it comes with a lot more horsepower, but it doesn't. It's pretty slow. Like I said, 200 miles per hour to the not 200 miles, 200 horsepower to the engine, 2.0 liter boxer engine, and to the wheel, I would probably say it's about like 160. It's not fast. You want more power, you suggest cold air intake, change out the radiator, a nice intercooler, turbo it, supercharge it, boost it, like all etc. The list goes on and on, but that's like if you have money to do that. If you plan on keeping it stock, just know you're not going to dog anybody. You go in a race, you're going to lose for sure. You're not going to win. You're more in it for the aesthetics rather than the actual power itself. When you get into reliability for this car though, it is 100% reliable. So if you are a college student taking into consideration of a FRS or any of the other 2 cars that are similar, I would suggest it in reliability. Very good on gas. They 24 miles per hour city, 34 on the highway, which is pretty good. To fill up the tank, it's about $20 to $25, around so. And then parts, Toyota, Scion, it's cheap. You're not gonna waste too much on anything. If something were to go wrong, you can just go to your local AutoZone or take it to a dealership or something like that, which I probably wouldn't do. But if you have warranty on it, which is probably the best thing you should do. And then the overall aesthetic of the car as a whole, from 0 being a car that you shouldn't buy, and then 10 being a car that I would suggest completely. From 0 to 10, I give this car an overall 9. Like I said, it's not fast, but it is a really cool looking car, just stock itself. Once you lower it, slam it, put some 3-piece wheels on it, you put a nice front lip, wide body, carbon fiber trunk, change out the whole thing, put some ride seats, nice little shift 6-speed manual. Whew, you're gonna be banging, bro. You're gonna pick up some chicks, man, and that's all you, bro. But just know, you're not dogging anybody. If you would rather take L's on cars and take dubs on girls, go ahead, bro. I really suggest this car. But yeah, thanks for tuning in to another FTB episode of Is It Worth Buying College Edition, which I suggest. It's a good car for any of you college students that are out there. Monthly payments, like I said, wouldn't be that bad. On average, I would probably suggest it'd be like around anywhere from 200 to about 350 a month just for the car, and then insurance would be probably an additional like 120, 150. If your budget allows for about overall $450, around so roughly, depending on your down payment that you give the car and depending on how much you get the car off the lot. If you can buy the car, I would suggest it. But yeah, thanks for tuning in to another FTB episode for Is It Worth Buying? And then hope you guys liked the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification notification bell on the top right corner as well. And yeah, man, we keep bringing these videos to you guys. Leave a comment down below whether there's pros and cons, whether you own an FRS, a 86, or a BRZ. What's your thoughts or your overall experience with the car? And I'll catch y'all in the next episode. Peace. Go ahead and give you guys a little rev and start up the car so you guys can hear what the OEM kind of exhaust sounds like on this car. So that's not a cold start. The car is warm. As you can hear, it's pretty quiet, which is good if you desire just to keep it pretty stock. You won't get any attention to it. Let's give it a couple of revs for you guys.